All right, guys, how you doing? This is John Crump, and today we're going to be talking about a follow-up to a case that was out of the 10th Circuit a couple months ago, and it's definitely interesting, to say the least. All right, so let's go ahead and we will jump into it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, stay tuned. All right, guys, how you doing? On August 26th, a 10th Circuit ruling came down, and it dealt with firearms and guns. And basically, what it said is the government cannot ban non-intoxicated users of marijuana or any drugs from owning guns because the government would have to prove that they are dangerous while non-intoxicated, and they cannot do that. So this deals with a case of a guy named Jared Harrelson who was busted for marijuana and having a gun, and he originally was found guilty. He appealed all the way up to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, which issued that ruling. And when they issued that ruling, the government had a couple choices. This is in front of a three-judge panel. They could have asked for an en banc review, which means the whole bench would hear the case, or they could, if they so choose, go directly to the Supreme Court. Well, now we know today that they're doing none of that. By the way, we are raising money. We just kicked off our fundraising today for Pack 997 of the Cub Scouts, so you can give over there. But let's get into this. All right. So once again, this case is United States of America versus Harrison, and it dealt with weed and guns. And I'm going to share a couple different things here. So share screen. Yeah. Yes. Think this is one here. Nope. Let me go over here. This is the one I'm looking for here. All right. Basically, the government is filing for what is called a motion for leave and to dismiss the indictment without prejudice. So the United States government is saying that they want the case against Harrison. They're dropping charges. Basically, they are dismissing the indictment without prejudice. What without prejudice means is if they so choose in the future, they can go ahead and refile. But this is definitely interesting because I thought they're going to fight back more than this, but they didn't. One thing I do want to say is just because this guy got off of this does not mean that he is a squeaky clean individual. I wanted to make that clear right now, and you're going to see why in a second. There was a couple different charges for aggravated assault and everything else. So this guy has some other things that he's going to have to fight. Aggravated assault being one of them. But even though that he might have committed other crimes, and looking at his record, it seems like he allegedly has committed other crimes. Does that mean he should be prosecuted for having weed and guns? I don't believe so, because I don't think the weed is what makes him dangerous. And it's his right to own guns. Nowhere in the Constitution do you lose your freedom of speech because you smoke the devil's lettuce. Nowhere in the Constitution, if you're a criminal, that you lose your due process rights. Nowhere in the Constitution, if you commit a crime, do you lose your right against self-incrimination. So by saying that you lose your Second Amendment rights because you commit a crime, I don't think that is right. Now, a lot of you are going to say, "Well, how about voting? Don't you lose your rights for a certain amount of time if you commit a crime and one of those rights is voting?" Yeah, you do, and I don't agree with that either. The right of the people applies to everyone. It doesn't say the right of the people who are law abiding. It says the right of the people. And even people that commit crimes are part of the people. So you're trying to strip them of their constitutionally protected rights, and you're trying to charge them for violating a constitutional right. One of the things that is interesting on the 4473, it asks you if you're an unlawful user of marijuana or other addictive chemicals or illegal drugs. And if you mark no, you are lying on a federal form, which is a crime itself. Ask Kodak Black, ask Hunter Biden. That is a crime. So, do I think it should be a crime? No, because I don't think that question is legal. Because uh, because if that question is legal, it's giving them the right to violate your God-given rights. There's a case called Mulberry versus Madison, which deals with a law that is unconstitutional, and it said any law that is repugnant of the Constitution, it can be ignored, basically. Paraphrasing, but that's what it said. So, the Lord's lettuce, my friend. Alright, the DI and review guy. Maybe Lord's lettuce, whatever you wanna call it. Wacky tobacco, devil's lettuce, Lord's lettuce, whatever you wanna call it. Weed. I don't do it myself, but I think that that is no reason to lose your gun rights just because you smoke up a little bit. But I'm really libertarian when it comes to the war on drugs and stuff like that. I don't think the war on drug work, and I believe everything should be legalized as long as it doesn't have a victim. So that is my thought. So if you smoke crack, should you be able to own a gun? I think you should be able to. It's definitely interesting, and I think this is the right decision. The 10th Circuit has made this decision. Is is definitely a good thing for gun rights because I'm not all about just gun rights. I'm all about all rights. So that's basically it. And once again, if you want to give to the scouts, it is Gibson Go um, .com/997. Right now, it is very expensive to become a scout, and the majority of Cub Scout packs are going kind of left wing. This pack right here is definitely a conservative pack. It's a boys only pack, conservative values, getting back to what scouting was meant to be without all the woke hogwash. And if you want to support a pack like that, and maybe if you support a pack like that, it can grow. Right now, the pack has grown tremendously because of our stance on certain woke issues. And because of the stance on certain woke issues, other people that are in Cub Scouts that want to get away from the wokeness, they come over to us. So we want to keep that rolling, but it's really, really expensive for scouting. Um, for example, it's $100 for, like, local and 170 for national, and right now, we are covering a lot of that cost out of our pockets by doing fundraisers and stuff like that, including this one. So, if you wanna help out and make sure kids were able to learn valuable skills, because they do learn a lot of valuable skills, not only, like, camping skills and, wilderness skills, but they also they also provide skills on how to be just a good human being, and I'm very involved in it. I am a den leader, and I do a lot of fundraising for the Scouts, and this is one of the reasons why we do it. And with that, I am gonna get out of here. So if you wanna donate, go ahead and donate. And Jared Harrison got off today. He should have got off on this stuff, but I don't know if he's gonna get off on the other stuff. And I do agree with some people out there that uh, weed is a lot less dangerous than alcohol and firearms. Uh, I do have my sound system fixed, so I can accept calls, but I don't know if I want to do that or not today. think I'm just gonna end it. But in the future, I'll take calls. All right, guys. See you guys later. Bye.